In the Genius documentary, Miss Donda West states that a giant looks at himself and sees nothing. In the movie, The Book of Clarence, with Lakeith Stanfield, Clarence's mother tells him, don't just exist, take up space, hold space. And his girlfriend tells his mother that he's a giant that sees himself as an ant. I, and I'm sure many other people, relate to this. For at least like 8 years now, people have been referring to me as big dog, boss man, and stuff like that. And that's people I know and people I don't know. Usually upon just first speaking to me, excuse me, big dog, you got it, boss man. Oh, it's all good, boss. All that is the world revealing to me who I am and how I am, how it sees me. But I realized I haven't always seen myself that way. It wasn't until really like this year that I started to see myself as big. Just from being consistent in the gym. I've been consistent. I've been this size probably once or twice in my life, but I've really been about this size my whole life, right? Between like 170 and 185. And I've only personally with my own eyes seen, I think, 2 people make the transformation that I'm in the beginning of making right now, from about 170, 180 to about 215, 230. I would see guys who were bigger, football player size and whatnot, and think it was just a natural thing for them. You know, it's like, I think my genes, my bone structure, I actually saw my father make this transformation too, but I didn't notice it in real time. It just, later on in life, he was just bigger and he was muscular because he stayed in the gym. Yeah, I always thought it was a natural thing for guys who were that big. And I never was really thinking about it as energy, as commitment, consistency, hard work, dedication. And even when people acknowledge me as things like big dog and boss man, I always felt like it was just the energy. It wasn't a physical thing. You know, it was a mental thing maybe. But I think I and many other people like me in the world, we just taking our own journey to recognizing and appreciating who we are, the impact we here to make, the position we hold in the world. Interestingly enough, I've always felt this way about myself, to myself. It was an inner thing. I kept it inside, and you could hear it throughout the music that I created and released throughout the years. You could go back, you could really just search anywhere. Free Will Vibing, search Hannah Ball, shoot, even ATF Poppin'. If you want to go way back to when I was like 18, 19, 20, you search Chill Will Hill. That's only on Reverb Nation. But if you Google it, the page will show up. But all them other names, you can find it everywhere. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. And it's like when you hear the music, you hear my confidence. You hear how I feel about myself, my spirit. But my walk never lined up with it. And I feel like I disappointed a lot of people because of that. They would hear my music, hear the logic, hear the energy, hear the confidence, and expect me to go all the way, which at this point, I always felt like I was still going all the way. I just think the way people see it, based on how things have been in recent times and how things usually are in the Matrix, it didn't look how they wanted it to look. But I feel like I kind of confused myself and at times was depressed and maybe let myself down because I was impacted by how other people saw and felt like it should be. And I would wonder, like, why do I feel this way? Why do people feel this way about me? But it doesn't show in the 3D. in the third dimension, in the matrix. It doesn't seem to match up. I'm still like that, in a sense. I think in a sense I'll always be that way. Even the more I accept and allow and settle in to the position I hold, I'm here, the purpose I have to the world, there's just this, there has always been and there is this connection that I have, this view that I have, that it's not just me. And I want to talk about how it's been a gift and a curse per se, or how it's been a strength and a weakness per se. And the reason, part of why it will show up in my music and not show up in the world, is because with the music, when I'm creating it, whether it's when I'm writing it or recording it, I'm by myself. At times I've recorded with other people, but it will be one or two people, you know what I mean? So I can express how I feel, you know, that's intimate. It's a meditation. So it's like I'm tapped into my higher self. I'm tapped into that energy, to the universe, to God, in the most intimate and closest way possible. It's prayer, it's meditation. But when I'm out in the world among people, I don't see myself as greater than the next person. I haven't ever seen my purpose as greater than the next person's. Now, that is a strength and a weakness, because I couldn't be described as arrogant, as narcissistic or whatever. I also have been described as humble and too humble, which one of the definitions of humble, which is why I can appreciate the word, but I also don't like the word no more, is having a low view of oneself. And I don't believe that we should have a low view of oneself. I think it keeps you from being who you are and fulfilling your purpose, taking up and holding that space that you're here to hold, and you're here to take up, and you're here to embody and fulfill. We're here to innovate and fill excavations, not leave open space for other people. The best way to inspire the next person is to be your greatest self. When people want to help people, it's usually one or two ways that you do it. You either reduce yourself, lower yourself in order to try to lift the next person up, or allow the next person space to lift themselves up, or you be your greatest self and take up as much space possible and let the people who are going to be inspired by that, which is how you pose to see it, be inspired by that. And anybody who wants to hold themselves back by seeing a negative version, a negative view of you, they just holding themselves back. They weren't gonna be great anyway until it was their time. If they look at you and say, oh, he's arrogant, oh, he's this and that, oh, he's da-da-da, it's like all they doing is making an excuse for themselves not to be great. Making an excuse for why they can't do that. Making themselves comfortable with the fact that you or that person is excelling and they aren't to the level that they think they can, or to the level that they don't even really think that people can. They haven't reached that level mentally, so they haven't reached that level physically. And this is why I'm talking about this right now, because in order to take up that space, in order to be that star that you are, you have to know that. You have to accept that. There's people who, and that's not to say, oh, you have to be arrogant or overly confident. It's not to say you don't. Sometimes that's what you have to do to accept it and get you there. Especially if you're naturally a humble person, it's like it's not easy to just walk that super confidence around people if you look at everybody on the same level. There are different ways we're all here to impact and influence the world. And some people are made to have a bigger influence or a bigger impact on more of the world or more people. And in order to do that, they have to go about life in a different way than other people. So you may not be better than the next person, but you may need to treat yourself as if your purpose is bigger than the next person's. Because even if y'all got the same level of purpose, or if theirs is bigger than yours, the way they have to go about it based on who they are might be different from the way you need to go about it. You really can't compare your purpose and your walk to the next person, because you might not see how they impact it. And you might hold yourself back if you're trying to compare, because you think, oh, they impacting on the grand level and I'm only impacting on the low key level, but you impacting more people, or you impacting the people who gonna make the big impact. Imagine being that person who has a low key path, and you only make a big impact on 5 people in the world, but each of those 5 people in the world make a big impact on 1 million people in the world. So your quote unquote small impact on those only 5 people really is a major influence on 5 million people, only because you didn't compare yourself and you allowed yourself to fulfill your purpose in the way that you need to fulfill your purpose because of who you are. But a lot of people out here just play small. And I don't think that people who play small know they playing small a lot of times. They think they doing what they need to be doing. But like, as you go on in life, the more you see yourself, the more you may realize that you've been playing or living small. And that's why you've been depressed, because you playing like small and you too big to be playing like that small. Like a giant, a 50-foot tall giant trying to walk through a 5-foot tall door. Like, it's frustrating. Why can't I get through there? Because you're not supposed to. You're supposed to stomp on that shit. You're supposed to stomp on it. You're supposed to go through it. You're supposed to go around. You ain't supposed to walk through no doors. You're supposed to walk across the earth. You're supposed to be in the sky and on the ground at the same time. Not crawling on the ground. Not even just flying in the sky. You're bigger than that. You walking the earth with your head in the sky and your feet on the ground. You gotta take up space. Be the giant that sees themselves as a giant. Yes, you can recognize other giants, but know that you're a giant too. Don't be a giant seeing yourself as an ant, as a small person. Especially when other people are constantly telling you that you big. People calling you boss man, big dog, big man, as you living throughout life. Realize what's happening. Accept that we all one, right? So if people are constantly acknowledging and recognizing you as that, you have to acknowledge and recognize yourself as that. This is the world. This is the sole entity that you are a part of, telling you what part you are. Accept that. Meditate on it. Live that. Or else you never fulfill your purpose. And then your whole life may be in vain. And who wants that? That's why people be depressed. A lot of depression comes from not living out your purpose and knowing there's more for you, and not knowing how or why, because you're not accepting yourself. You're not exploring and knowing yourself on the deepest, most intimate levels, what you're here for, why you feel these desires, why you know these things, why you think this way, why do people acknowledge the way you think, the way you move, and you don't? Why? Accept yourself. Accept your life. Accept your responsibility. Hold yourself accountable for who you are to the world and live it. Live that. Don't be afraid of nothing. New levels, new devils, so what? If there's new devils, there's new God. If there's new negative, there's new positive. If there's new positive, there's gonna be new negative. But if you can handle the last negative, you can handle the next negative. And then at some point, you get to where you realize it ain't even negative or positive. It's just things that feel like a high, good energy, a high, fun energy that people tend to love, and there's things that feel like a low, not so good energy. There's the problem, then there's the thinking, there's the finding a solution, and there's getting the grades. It's all a part of it. You know? There's practicing hard. There's the actual game of competition. There's the opposition in the competition. And then there's the results. You gonna be on the podium getting the medal, or you gonna be in the crowd watching the other people getting the medals? It's as simple as accepting yourself and staying consistent. And you, at some point, you bound to be on the podium. No matter what. The giant has to see himself, or it should never truly be the giant. Peace. Subscribe and we'll heal. Let's get it.